Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. We are being joined by the CEO of EQ Resources and his Chief Geologist, Tony Bainbridge. Kevin McNeil will be walking us through the latest presentation that talks about the environmental approval and some of the exciting news regarding the ramp up of the Mount Carbine mine up there in North Queensland. I'll hand it over to Kevin now and we'll have a few questions at the end. Okay, Kevin, off to you.
Great, thanks, Peter. Thanks. My good friend Tony Bainbridge is here with me. I'll switch seats with him afterwards there. I think it'd make it a little better. Standard disclaimer for anybody who wants to take the time to read it, and certainly our responsibility acknowledgement as well. I guess as a lot of your shareholders seen, we've had a recent rise on the back of I guess two things coming in: the environmental approval and getting the open pit and clarity around the open pit starting, and then also some of Tony's great drilling results as well. So I am going to rip through some of these first slides that I have here just so people could read them at your leisure afterwards. But yeah, so anyway, the board has been consistent over the last couple of years. There's been no changes on the board. So we have a very active and functioning board, and quite pleased with all the interaction that goes on with them. Just from start off with a little bit of an ESG as part of getting the environmental approval. I think it's part of getting it put through so quickly was the interaction that we have with our local governments, local Department of Environment, local landholders and stakeholders in the region as well. So everybody, we've had no negative press or negative people not wanting the operation to go ahead whatsoever. Anyway, you can just take your time and go through those slides if you will. Just another point is anybody that's seen some of my past presentations that we certainly have been doing a lot of work on safety. We've been continuing this work. We've got a very good safety record going at the mine site for a new mine. We're regularly visited by the Department of Mines, Health and Safety for inspections, and with the employees are taking an active role in the safety here at Mount Carbine as well. Just training, because we are where we are up here in the far north Queensland, it's mostly agriculture around here, and a little bit of sugarcane as well so there's been a huge amount of training ongoing at Mount Carbine to get people qualified into the heavy equipment, and it's been quite a busy ramp up that we've been doing, and we're fully staffed up now to handle the open pit. Goldings are coming in. They're interviewing people currently for positions as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Just a quick on the capital project list that we are expecting our tables here at any time. They're stacked tables, so they're quite a plug and play. We have another jig to support the high-grade mineralization that's coming, because there will be more concentrate to handle. Engineering on the crushing and screening around the jigs, we've been constantly doing this. I guess the big thing is the Sandvik plant coming, and we're able to, because of our phase one operation, we're able to continue with the phase one crusher only operating at 24/7, where the new crusher will operate 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, which saves cost ultimately through the operation. But we're quite happy with our phase one crusher currently, and it's able to handle what we need to do. We are looking at some high voltage upgrades as well, and we've already installed the cone crusher for the sorter product down at the plant, new PLCs, new electrical through the whole plant as well. So we've been busy little beavers up here getting things ready, lab expansion as well. So we're finally here for all you long-term shareholders, and I know there's a lot of you because I talk to you on a regular basis, and we're quite pleased that we'll be getting into the open pit starting the 1st of July. It's been a long road for some of you, and greatly appreciate the support that we've received from the long-term shareholders and your patience as well. So that's our schedule, and we are going to be doing a ramp up as well. So when we start with Goldings in the open pit, just to bring people on and get them experience, there will be like a 3-month ramp up as it goes into the open pit. So we're kind of looking at hopefully fresh ore of 20,000-30,000 tons month 1, depending on what Tony finds in his next round of drilling and how easy it is to get to the high grade ore. And then ramping that up to 40,000 tons in month 2, and then 60,000 tons in month 3, which will be ore sorted down. Our existing plant has been running at the given capacity of 30,000 tons a month after sorting and with the finer material. And that's been running now for about 8 months, consistently averaging 30 to 32,000 tons a month with about an 80% recovery on the low grade stockpile material. So quite pleased. The environmental permit, I'll just take a minute just to explain that we took the opportunity to kind of update everything, as everything was a bit old in the permit. And we talked to the Department of Environment as we went through the previous permits to that we would require like a water management survey, groundwater hydrology model, drill some additional groundwater wells to see what's happening, more surface water stations. We did dust and noise studies, to name a few, as well as some of the top consultants in the industry. ATC Williams helped us with the design of the water ponds that we worked on earlier in the year. And so yeah, this is all leading up to the commencement of mining operations. So all you long-term shareholders have been seeing that big hole full of water all these years. So here's an updated picture that we're quite proud of, to walk on that first ore bench that you see covered in mud, but it's only about 50 millimeters of mud on that ore bench. So Tony will describe a little bit more, but we are literally about 10 days away from having that last material, that last water out of the pit. So we are quite happy to be moving into there. So we'll be first jobs will be getting the ramp scraped off, the benches scraped off, and then Tony will talk about your drilling. But the guys are currently here on site. The Goldings team, they have their health and safety guys here first, getting all the what's required on the risk assessments and getting the work started for the ramps. And also their ops team, the new ops team is also here later in the week. One of them arrived today and a couple more later this afternoon. So fairly busy up these parts on all fronts, but really pleased working with the team, and we'll be getting magazines for the blasting put in the next few weeks. And yeah, just a straight ramp up into production. And on that note, what I'm going to do is get you to the exciting stuff where we've drilled off some of this really high-grade ore heading out to the west there that Tony can tell you all about there. Him being a bit more conservative, being a good geo he is, but I'll turn it over to you, Tony. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. I think the magic worked. We could swap out. This picture, you probably, those who have followed EQ a while have seen this picture. This is a plan view. It shows on here the BFS pit, Bankable Feasibility Study open cut, which is in the blue there, with the red being the ore zones. That pit there is for the next 4 years of production. You probably, again, those who have followed us have been listening to us talk about western extensions, and we needed to do a few more holes here to bring all that western part of the resource into indicated, which we've now completed. And over the next few weeks, we'll see a potential pit expansion out that way. We now have the indicated resource to do that. We'll be looking at what the pit looks like if we put that ore through the optimizer. I think the important thing also is that we were given a bit of opportunity to explore the extents of these zones, particularly two areas. One, the Iron Duke, which is up the north here, the one that's labelled A on this area. We thought that the Iron Duke would continue in a similar fashion to the rest of the ore body. So we stepped out quite a way and had a look at that. And then also we were chasing some high grade that we ended the last drill campaign on, which was hole 26. And we were chasing whether that continued to extend westwards. I'll go to the next slide here. So firstly, the Iron Duke area, which is, this is a section with the north on the right-hand side. You'll see this yellow area here, and that's targeted. The hole that we planned out there was this hole that says Plan 2. So that hole went out looking for that extension of Iron Duke, a 150 metre step out. And we were quite excited about what we were seeing there. I guess at the surface, as you've also heard, is our tungsten model, if you like, has the veins thinning out once they're above 400 metre RL. These RLs up here are around 450. So we see smaller veins at surface, but when we drill down to what is our ore zone, which extends from about 100 to 350 metres, we see the veins blossom out and get quite well mineralized. These targets that we're seeing here are likely to be underground targets. As you can see, they're narrow and higher grade. So, but we're interested to see that these link back now the 150 metres to the right positions in the Iron Duke. So we're starting to add up some real tungsten there, way out to the north. You know, that's some years away to come into mining, but it's exciting nevertheless, increasing the base of our resources. This pit that you see here is that feasibility pit again, and as you can see, there's plenty of ore still remaining underneath that, and we're going to continue to explore that. If you have a look now at the specifics of the last phase of drillings, which was 6 holes, about 1,200 metres of drilling, 2,000 metres of drilling. There was 2 press releases we put out, each one summarised here in these 2 diagrams. And essentially what we were doing was, in the top figure here, was to look, this is both for the western area. We had a high grade hit here in a hole number 64, and that we were chasing that to see whether it went to depth. We're pleased to say that that was the case, and you know, we essentially went from an intercept that was up here 10 metres of 1.32%. We drilled 150 metres down, about 120 metres down vertically, and we hit this large zone here, which is 18 metres of 1%. So you can see they're in the same sort of grade. This now gives us that plunging lobe that we interpreted as being there back over a year ago. So currently most of our resources are just here below the old pit. You can see the high grade here marked in red, and now we have the second lobe of high grade extending here. It's quite open to depth, and we'll continue to chase that. As you can see, it's starting to get down a little, and our planned pit extension would be somewhere up here at the moment in pit 3. So that was exciting news. That particular vein, which we call the Johnson vein, has been extended to depth, and those very high grade +1% grades continuing. We then took the opportunity to try and drill out what was happening with the intercept we hit in the phase drilling at the end of last year, which was a 5.94 metre zone of about 1% as well. That was in hole 26. We stepped out chasing that high grade on a downward plunge, and again we're hitting that nice high grade there with 2.8 metres of 1.81%. Perfect sort of size and grade ores for underground mining. You'll see here that's the existing decline that was put in by the former miners here. So its proximity is perfect to start some underground mining. So if we go to sort of the overall view, there's the bankable feasibility pit. We're off looking in these areas where the purple is shown here, and we think the ore body at this end, at the western end, is plunging further to depth. in close proximity again to that decline. You can see the decline here shown in yellow. We did do some scoping work end of last year regards the underground, and I guess due to drilling we had 2 lobes that we investigated in the scoping stage, and this representation is trying to show that this area here is where we're chasing that pit expansion. We think we'll have several years extra on top of the 4 years of current pit life, and meanwhile we'll be looking at all this high grade that we've hit down here. So two zones, the Bluff vein continued and the Johnson vein continued. Again, you know, large zones, 18 meters of 1% is quite a significant interception, and same as the Johnson vein here. So we're going to continue to drill those in time. Down here, it's for mining, you know, in when we get the underground going. But again, there's an opportunity for us to look at that underground in this area, even while we're mining the pit. We think that currently that the end of that stage BFS pit is an ideal time to put a decline in off the bottom of that pit. So we'll be investigating that. And what we're always going to be continuing to look at is where the point of open cut and underground start and stop. So this new stuff, you know, is adding, you know, quite a lot of MTU to our resource base, and we'll be looking to do an announcement again on that. But we're excited that right now we'll be able to bring that pit expansion in of the open cut shortly. So that's the good news. We're still open in all directions. With on this representation here, it doesn't show the Iron Duke stuff. It's off the page. It's further over here to the left of the screen. So we've got not only the coming years ahead of us, but we've got the Iron Duke there as the next phase of expansion. So the model still stands, probably something like 5 to 7 years now of open cut and more than 10 years of available ore for underground. So that's our scope that we're putting into feasibility study expansion, and you know, that we're more excited, of course, to get the open cut starting and deliver some high grade ore through to Kevin at the plant. So I'll leave it there and pass it back to you, Kevin.
Good, guys. Thank you very much and for attending. I'm not sure if there's any questions, Peter, come through.
Can you hear me at this end, Kevin?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm just having a few issues.
Sorry, Peter, I think you dropped off there. Anyway, as usual, we're very open to take any kind of questions, or please just drop me an email. I'll respond to you or call you back or whatever. Tony as well. We're both very open to answer any questions you might have in the future. But anyway, again, this is the real future that you see on the screen here, heading out underground. This is 15% of the known resource that we have currently, and it just keeps growing and growing as we go. So Peter, I'm not sure, I think you're having a bit of technical difficulties there, but we'll probably leave it at that. Thank you very much, everybody.